Hey guys, welcome to episode 2, season 2, I think episode 21 as a whole of Takes from Obvious Bozos. I'm Drew. Joining me, as always, we have our social media guru, and that's all I got for right now. Zach Blatt. What up,
Wow.
Zach?
I'm doing great, but I feel like I lost like half of my handle that I usually get introduced with, but
Yeah,
we'll take
no,
it though.
I got nothing on me off the top of my head this morning. It's one of those recovering from a blowout victory that you know how nice it was. That's like the game starts at 7, it ends at 9, but the game is actually over at like 7:30.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm like, this is the best. I was like, we need more Knicks nights like that.
I think we're in for a lot more. So,
I sure hope so. But it was fun. But before we get into anything, we got to keep our sponsors happy, and of course, our favorite sponsor of them all, BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. We're more than halfway into the football season, so BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance to win at weekly prizes and a share of the 200,000. When the game's over, head over to our online casinos, meaning Bet Online online casinos, and get in on some blackjack, some poker, or play one of the 150 slot games that they have. So head up to the website today, get on the action, Bet Online. The game starts here, and don't forget, this is a Patreon. If you want the full episode of this, it's a Patreon podcast. So please come sponsor us over at Patreon. So it's patreon.com/the Strickland. This is, you can get the full episode of the $6 tier. You get the $6 tier, you get the full episode of this. Friday episodes of Pod Strickland. You get exclusive content from Matthew Miranda, which he wrote an amazing article, and we triggered the snowflakes on, which made me so happy.
we sure did.
So happy. I don't know if that was actually a Patreon exclusive, but like
It
get
wasn't.
to read.
It was for the public.
It's great. It's even better. But you get to read the great Matthew Miranda. But that $9 gets you the Strictly NFL show with who said it's Con
And
and a
Desmond.
rotating guest now. Oh,
And Desmond. And also a rotating panel of guests.
yeah, so you have all that. Again, you get all your football needs there, and then there's obviously more and more tiers. You get more and more stuff. So again, you can go to strict.land. Right on the head banner is the link to Patreon, or you go to patreon.com/Strickland. Come support us, and yeah, there we go. Zach, we actually didn't get as many takes as I was expecting.
I think the team is just too good that everybody agrees that they're too good, and they're like, you know what? Let's just let's get to April, let's get to the playoffs, and we'll see what happens. Because I think we've had a couple of wins here that where it's just like, oh, they figured it out already. Look at this.
I liked, because I'm not going to pretend that I watch the Pistons, even though I have League Pass, which is really funny because like I have League Pass, I can go through all the games, but like I'm not going to go out and watch the Pistons. But we had so many people in our Discord being like, the Pistons are better, they're looking good, they're actually
hungry,
like, trying, they're hungry, they're doing all this sort of shit. And then the juxtaposition between like that, like all that like information, and seeing the Knicks completely destroy them yesterday, I was like, this is the hungry team that you guys have been talking about.
These are the feisty Pistons.
Like those feisty Pistons, but it was also like, I think the Knicks are just honestly like, they're that good on offense when they're rolling. So like, it doesn't matter. Like it is very demoralizing because the Pistons gave up. Right? Like they gave up at some point. The Knicks started fucking around and the Pistons stopped giving up. And then the Knicks tried again. And then the Knicks started to fuck around. And then they're like, all right, fine. We'll give 5 minutes of the 5 minutes of the rookies. Basically. But no, it was fun watching. It was fun watching that game.
I think it was interesting that you said that the Knicks stopped like going crazy for a little bit. To like the Pistons did make a little bit of a run. You didn't mention that was perfectly timed with Jericho Sims entering the game. So I don't know if it was the Knicks taking their foot off the gas or just Jericho Sims going in. Jericho Sims accomplished quite an impressive feat in a game. The Knicks won by 30 and we're up by like 40 or 35 or 45
Yeah.
at certain points in this game, Jericho Sims was a ±0 in this game somehow. But we'll take it. A win's a win. Jericho had a couple rebounds. He had an offensive rebound over Jalen Duren where he just like pushed Jalen Duren out of the way and just reached over his head to grab an offensive rebound over him. And they're the same draft class. It was like pick 11 and 58 or whatever. And that's
he also
fun.
had the really good block in the first quarter.
He did have a nice block in the first quarter. Was this the best Jericho Sims games of the season?
Probably, which is
probably
hilarious.
was. Yeah,
which was hilarious to think about. But I know it was impressive. But yeah, does it coincide with Jericho? Yeah, unfortunately. But I love my Jericho Sims. I love my Jericho Sims minutes because I don't know what I'm getting, even though I do know what I'm getting. Because I'm just like
they were not in the same draft class, Duren and Sims. Now I'm like replaying it back in my head. They were close though, so
close enough to me. You could have snuck that right by me, and I would have been like, yeah.
No, I replayed it in my head, and I realized that they were not. Duren was the year after, but
so we have an amazing take to start us off about the Pistons game. This came before the game from our beloved Jerry Garcia, and it goes: the Knicks are going to lose to the Pistons, and everyone is going to lose their minds. Then the Knicks are going to win 8 straight. Well, I hope they win 8 straight, but they did not lose to the Pistons at all. Like at all. It wasn't even close. So terrible.
What if they win 9 straight now, including the Pistons game, or actually including the Heat game? It would be 10 straight.
I could see that.
Take it. I think we have some good competition coming up. Though. I think we play I was gonna say we play the Bucks soon, as if they're a good competition, but they actually suck. So maybe that'll be a free win.
I am loving some of the demise of like some of these teams.
Yeah, I know, it's great
right now.
It's awesome.
Like
you do play Houston, so they're a little feisty.
No, Jerry is completely off. Terrible take, terrible prediction, and it's looking closer to 10 games than 8 games, and definitely we're not losing to the Pistons. I like how the Pistons actually have to pump in. Like I love when you're watching the game and the crowd is so terrible that you can actually hear the pumping in of the arena audio. And that was all the Pistons game, because there was at one point you hear defense. It's not the crowd, right? Like, it's the stadium pumping it in. And it happened in Miami too. I love it.
Can you guess the last time the Knicks lost to the Pistons? When was it? I'll give you another one. Who was the head coach the last time you lost to the Pistons?
Derek Fisher.
No, it was David Fizdale. It was David Fizdale. Close though.
Fizdale.
It was on November 6th, 2019. So that was RJ's rookie year. That was like RJ's like probably his like one of his 10th or 11th games as an NBA player. So it happens, but since then we have never lost to the Pistons in the Tibbs era. So there you go.
Because Tibbs is like, you need to destroy these unserious teams. Like he's psychotic that way, because like the Knicks starters, like they were still playing, and he would get upset if they weren't destroying the Pistons. Like he would call timeout and he'd be like, stop fucking around. Like he was saying
he put Cat back in the game when we were up 30 in the fourth quarter. Like
it's hilarious. It's it's fun. Well, look, it's funny right now. If this is gonna happen by like game 30 and we're still running like this 6.5 rotation, basically, I don't think I'm gonna be too happy. But like I think right now it's fine.
It's fine. We'll get Precious back and it'll ease everything back together and everything.
I think so, because even if you look at the minutes, the only person who's like higher right now is Josh Hart.
Yeah,
and Precious is going to take those minutes when he gets back. So it's not like it will mellow down, because Cat still, even though Cat went back in the fourth, he still played less than 30 minutes in the game. So like it's not that big a deal. Yeah. Brunson didn't play too many. I think Brunson only got to like 30. So like
he played like 28 or something. It was easy.
Yeah, so the only guy really is like Josh Hart, and it's mainly because the Precious injury. So we'll see.
Also, the funniest thing is Josh Hart is like constantly popping up as questionable with like random leg injuries and like knee injuries and ankle injuries, and then he continued to just go play like 43 minutes the next night anyway. And every time I see like Josh Hart is questionable or he's probable or something, I'm like, all right, bro, you're playing. Come on, like.
Well, I think it's most of the Knicks. I think they're just kind of reporting. I always feel like the reporting that the Knicks do specifically for injuries is kind of like how I am with like my like tendonitis and shit that I am constantly dealing with, right? Because they'll be like, my wrist, like they'll be like, Cat's wrist is questionable. It's like, all right, it's probably just sore. They just technically listed it on like the
It's a
injury
formality.
report. Yeah, it's like a formality at this point, right? Because it's just like I know for me, it's just like, oh, like I overused my shoulder, like tendonitis is flaring up because I don't know, say like I was swinging too much in like volleyball, but like I'm just gonna take some Tylenol, rub some a Tiger Balm on my shoulder, call it a day, right? Just be like, I can still move it. I'm fine. That's how I just imagine Josh Hart is, right? It's just like it's a little sore, but like I'm
It's
just
fine.
gonna play. It's fine.
Yeah.
So, all right, Jax365 has the best thing about the Knicks scoring is that Cat or Brunson could score 35 plus points one night, and the starters could all score 20 plus the next night. The only other team that can match that is the Celtics.
Sure. I mean, it's not a hot take
It's
at all, but it's
not
a
hot take at all.
great thing. I mean, this offense has been the starting lineup itself. Like this starting lineup has so many different weapons and so many different ways they can beat you. And it doesn't have to be Cat, doesn't have to be Brunson. Like and on any given night, like one of these 5 guys can go for 20 or 25. So not some insane relevation, but yeah, it is like us and the Celtics that can say that. So
I have liked. I don't know if some people. I know there's. I think at least specifically in our little circle on like the Discord about like the offense, like how everyone's playing and stuff like that. The lack of 3-point shooting. I actually don't mind them kind of experimenting with shit right now because I think a lot of what they're doing is also like trying this one-on-one type of play mismatch basketball, and you kind of see that too with like McHale in the post. I think that's probably like the best example of kind of what I'm getting at is where they'll do this with OG too, where if there is a mismatch, they will just throw it to the post. And I think that's interesting because I think a lot of times it's just like, no, go for the 3. It's like I just think they're going for mismatch basketball, get the double team, read where the double is going, and then eventually kick out and swing for the best open look. Like I think they're just trying to really simplify the offense right now, and then whatever open shots they get, they'll get.
Yeah,
and even if I like it.
Yeah, even if there isn't like an obvious mismatch, like there's some missed screen action or something like that, like they'll just give it to Cat, and like 9 times out of 10, Cat against some other big, unless it's some elite rim protecting big. Like last night it was Isaiah Stewart, and like Stewart's like a nice center, like he's a good player.
Yeah, he's fine.
But against Cat, like it's kind of a mismatch every time, and like if they couldn't find another mismatch, they're like, all right, let's just give it to Cat, body up on Stewart, and either that's 2 points right there, or like they'll send help and Cat will make the right play, and something happens from there, and like that's kind of like been their whole offense. And it's kind of say the same for McHale, because if he's playing the 2, like a lot of these other 2 guards are going to guard him are just not capable of like guarding someone of his size, especially in the post. So it'll either be a McHale mid range, or they'll find somebody on the wing and or find a cutter or find the open player. So
yeah, and these are good looks too.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the things right now where there's this weird disconnect. I do think the team needs to shoot more threes. I don't think that's actually controversial, right? I do think they kind of need to practice getting that volume up for, when like say the Knicks defense isn't up to par like they were against Boston. You kind of need to start chucking a bit just to cut the lead down. So I would like to see him do that, but I think just like stat wise, I'm gonna quickly look this up. Their 2-point shooting percentage, the Knicks right now, is like insane.
McHale's also like McHale's individual 2-point percentage is also insane.
Yeah, like right now they're 9th, which I think was actually a little better earlier in the we're all talking small sample size, but right now they're 9th in the league at a 55.5% from 2. So like I'm not like that upset with how the shooting is right now. If they're going to be that efficient. So, but no, it's great. This is like a great problem to have. Like anyone can go off, and it's wonderful. Stacey Patton has Cat is a better passer than Isaiah Hartenstein.
I think this might not be true, but like I will believe that it's true. But I think the reason we're all like seeing these Cat passes and stuff and like kind of making these conversations a huge thing is Cat's offensive bag is just like 100 times deeper than Hartenstein's. And I think a lot of times when we saw these Hartenstein passes, it was like, holy shit, look at what he's doing. Like this is like kind of like the only thing that he's really, really good at offensively. Like, yeah, he kind of attack off the dribble and he had like a little floater game, but like that Hartenstein passing thing was like his main thing. And then I think when Cat does it, it's like more of an accoutrement to everything else that Cat is doing offensively. And
look at you, accoutrement.
It's a big word, and it kind of just came out. But anyway, like some of these Cat passes are just like very routine for him, and like they might not look routine, but like they're just regular. And like a lot of times we're taking them for granted. And after coming from Hartenstein, where that's like the biggest thing in his game, seeing Cat just like do this regularly while also mixing in like step back threes and attacking off the dribble and like jump hooks and all this other stuff that he does offensively. It's the full package. Like, I don't know if he's a better passer than Hartenstein, but like the way that it pairs with the rest of his game, it makes him just so much more deadly.
So for their careers, this isn't saying much, obviously, because like Isaiah Hartenstein like started his career very much not playing, right? Compared to Towns, who was the top pick. But just like assist percentage wise for their careers, Towns is at 15.7 and Hartenstein's at 13.4. So
fine.
So like Towns is definitely generating more assists with his passing. If anything, it's honestly, it's probably just comparable. And which is great because I think Isaiah Hartenstein is a very good passer. So I think Towns is also a very good passer. It's definitely hot. I don't know if it's actually hot, what Stacey's saying. Right? Because
I don't think it's that hot. But they're both great passers, and like I don't think we're missing anything like from Hartenstein. It's not like, oh wow, I wish we had a big who could do what Hartenstein was doing. Like it's not like that.
Well, this was the thing that I think in our first episode of the season, like I at least brought up was like Towns is going to replace Hartenstein's role, not Randall's role, and the big difference is that Towns can shoot, put the ball on the floor, score at the rim, do a mid range, like he could do everything on offense and Hartenstein couldn't. And you're kind of seeing that too, where like when they will play either like super high post with Towns or they have him at the top of the key. And you saw it a lot with in the Detroit game with just basic backdoor cuts, right?
Yeah. And he'll find you every time.
And he'll find you. And and that was Isaiah Hartenstein's role, right? Like it's the same type of role where it's just like, okay, give the ball to the big at the top of the key, at the top of wherever, do some cuts, do some stuff around, get some movement going. And that's what Towns is doing. But the difference is Towns can shoot and you can't slack off him and you actually have to guard him, unlike Hartenstein. But like Hartenstein could also put the ball on the floor and do his floater. Great job, right? Like, but that's it. Towns could do everything else. So I just think we're just seeing like the extreme best version of an Isaiah, like a 5, like Isaiah Hartenstein with someone who has ball skills. And Towns is probably the best 5 with ball skills right now. So it's great. It's great. Duder Adam has Lad McConkey is the best name of any current athlete in professional sports. That's a hot take because that's also not true.
Yeah, it's not true. There's actually a rookie, like Lad McConkey's a rookie, but there's another rookie in the NFL who has a better name. But I want to give your answer first. I want to hear your better name.
Grady Dick.
Grady Dick. That's a good one. I would go with Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Wait, that's someone's name?
That's a real name. Kool-Aid McKinstry. He's a corner for the Saints.
All right, that guy's awesome.
Yep. See, he's a rookie. I would go with
the best.
Kool-Aid McKinstry, definitely better than Lad. Lad is like up there though. Lad McConkey's top 5. He's having a great year too. Like he's been awesome for them.
It is a very good name. I don't think it's the best. So that's why I think it's a hot take because there are some really good names out there.
Yeah, I also I don't know if Kool-Aid McKinstry is good. I just know he's like in the NFL.
Lad
McConkey's actually good, so that's cool.
Yes. Also, like someone saying that like first name Lad.
Yeah.
You better be good at whatever you do.
With 2 D's also Lad. Like, yeah.
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Where am I? All right. Next take is from Justin Cat Hall of Fame Caseload. He shared a tweet from not a friend of the show.
The greatest account on the X app, actually.
Nate Duncan on Twitter. Brunson is easily the most annoying foul grifter in the NBA. He's doing some kind of move to try to draw a call on nearly every possession.
When was this tweeted? Like, what game was he watching where this felt appropriate to put out?
Okay, so this is how we're gonna end the free thing. I want to have a discussion with you about this because I think I think there's a weird understanding of this. What do you define as foul grift?
I think the biggest example of it, I think the worst culprit of it is Trae Young. And it's when you see the pump fakes and then the lean into the defender after the pump fake. Like that, I think is foul baiting. Like when I see them, like when the offensive player is clearly initiating the contact. And like, listen, you know who used to do this a lot? Quickly would do it a lot too. Quickly would do it a lot when he was on the team. Brunson will do it like once in a while, but it's really not a major piece of his game. Trae Young is out there doing this multiple times a game. Like pump fake, lean into the defender and try and get a shot off like while the guy is just out of control in the air. And like that's an offensive player initiated the contact.
So I actually somewhat disagree with that concept of what foul grifting is. And I'm going to go into like this whole spiel of like stuff growing up. So when I was a wee lad, being terrible in New Jersey basketball, right? How I learned to play is very similar into the way of how Jalen Brunson does stuff, right? Specifically, you play off 2 feet. You want to get to the defender to be in a compromised position, and you want to then get them to foul you, but also in the process of like trying to complete the shot and get the end one, right? So that's a lot of things that Brunson does, and you're kind of explaining that to a degree what Trae Young does as well. What I would push back on, what I would actually agree with you with the Trae Young being the foul grifter is compared to someone like Brunson. Brunson's looking to complete the play and make the shot. Because the idea is like when you're driving, you want to try to get them in a compromised position, either get them up in the air, get the call, initiate the contact, play through it to finish the goal, to finish the point. Someone like a Trae Young, where not necessarily you are flinging yourself, but you're not looking to make the shot. You're specifically looking just to get to the foul line. And you're not making a basketball play. So I think Joel Embiid is actually the best example of foul grifting, where he just kind of flails himself into the player, the defender. He doesn't care if he makes the shot or not, right? Because the shot making is irrelevant. The whole point is generating the foul, getting to the line, exaggerating contact. That's how I find foul grifting. I see Brunson, for Brunson, I see it as like, this is how I would say he's younger than I am, but like I would assume most people, if anyone's like listening, who played high school basketball in the New York, New Jersey area, like let us know. Let me know at least if I'm wrong, especially if you're in the Discord. Like let me know if I'm wrong. We were taught. That's how we were taught to play basketball, is the way Jalen Brunson handles specifically drawing fouls as a ball handler. So like that's how I was taught to play. And I know some people will interpret that as foul grifting, but I always thought that as like that's just basketball. But like maybe I'm wrong. Maybe times have changed and that is considered foul grifting now. With all that said, foul grifting is also supposed to lead into free throw attempts, right? There's supposed to be a correlation. The idea, like, if you're foul grifting, it should then therefore lead to an increase in free throw attempts. In our next take, which is going to wrap things up on the free side, is for spare one, which is Jalen Brunson is a shameless foul grifter. That's evidenced by his staggering 28th in free throw attempts so far this season.
It might even be lower after last night's game. I'm pretty sure that came in before last night's game.
It did. And that's kind of
I'm going to double check if CP's 28 or even lower.
Okay, Zach's going to double check. But like that's the point I'm getting at also, is where someone like Trae Young, it does show up in the foul attempts, like in the free throw attempts. It shows up for Joel Embiid in the free throw attempts. It shows up for Damian Lillard in the free throw attempts. It's supposed to bear out. Like you can't be called a foul grifter.
Jalen Brunson, also, by the way, is 37th in free throw attempts per game, no longer 28th.
You see what I mean? Like it's supposed to bear out. And yes, he is trying to draw contact on his drives, but he's also doing it specifically to get the and one. And I think that is a big distinction. I know some people may think it's just whether it's like semantics or just like if it's someone saying it's marginal, I'm fine if you disagree, but I think there's a notable difference is me trying to draw a foul to get the shot up for the and one versus I'm just trying to get a foul just to get to the foul line because I don't have a shot, right? Like it's just like, oh shit, I have nothing going for me. I'm just going to pump fake flail because I picked up my dribble too early and all that type of shit. Brunson doesn't do that, right? Like Brunson is specifically, I'm going for the drive. The defender's hand is out in not a guarding position. I'm going to try to knock it, to get the contact, play through it, get the foul shot, the end one. And I think that's a difference, but we'll find out. And again, we'll see. That is actually going to be the end of the free preview. So, folks, if you want to listen to the rest of the episode, and it's going to be so much longer, so much with so many better takes, so much better content, all of that type of stuff, you gotta go to patreon.com/the Strickland. Get on at least that $6 tier so you can hear all of this, the Friday episodes of Pod Strickland, all that good stuff. For our patrons, we'll see you on the other side.